Going to show you a gorgeous little side dish now. It's new potatoes with green beans and black olives. Only takes a few minutes to prepare. First thing we're going to do is we're going to dice up our potatoes. So just cutting them in strips, we're then going to turn them 90 degrees. And you want to cut them into small, even-sized pieces so they cook at exactly the same speed. Now we're going to start off with a teaspoon of Don Carlos pure olive oil, perfect for cooking. In that goes. Swirl it around. Just going to add our potatoes straight in there. Probably used to cooking potatoes, maybe boiling them first before you fry them. These new potatoes are so tender that if you cut them into small, even-sized pieces, they'll take about 7 or 8 minutes of constant tossing, but they will cook perfectly. Just going to season those up now with a little bit of black pepper. Sprinkle of Don Carlos salt. And we're just going to keep tossing those for about 4 or 5 minutes before we add a couple of knobs of butter. Now as those gently simmer away, we're going to prep up our green beans. Now the easiest way I find to prep green beans is just to sort of hold them in your hand and pat them together like that so they're all at exactly the same sort of length. Saves you having to do them all individually. And we're just going to trim those ends off. They do come pre-prepared sometimes. Now, trim those off, and I'm actually just going to cut those into even-sized pieces. So just gather a few in your hand. And there you go. Set those to one side. Next ingredient that we're going to prepare are our black olives. So again, Don Carlos black olives in a little bit of brine. So I'm just going to strain those off. And then I'm roughly just going to chop them as well. So just a couple at a time into nice little pretty rounds. These black olives are especially easy to work with because they come pitted, so the pits have been removed. Chop them like that, and there's our little garnishes ready. So just going to go back to my potatoes, give them a little toss, about 3 or 4 more minutes, and then we'll be ready to add those other ingredients. Now you can see those potatoes starting to take on some colour. I can tell that they're cooked. If you're not sure, small little knife in through to the centre, and if they're nice and soft, that means they're cooked. Next thing that I'm going to add in is my green beans, which on their own would take probably 2 or 3 minutes to cook. We're not blanching them in hot boiling water today. We're cooking them in the same way that we are our potatoes. And I'm also going to add in my butter. Now the butter is going to do a couple of things. It's going to give it that lovely sort of golden brown nutty colour. It's also going to give it a real nice sort of nutty texture to it. So flip that around and cook those beans for about another 2 minutes. Now you can see those potatoes taking on a lovely golden brown texture thanks to the heat in there and the butter. Last of all goes in our olives, and we're just going to give those a quick cook. Only really need to be heated up, the olives. Lovely mixture of textures, flavours, colours in there. Absolutely delicious. I'm going to serve it up as a side dish today. Nice way of really sort of livening up your new potatoes. I think too often people just sort of boil them and serve them very simply. Just so many more flavours and textures and colours in here that really do make it exciting. Scoop it all in there. And the beauty is you don't have to start boiling everything. Nearly everything was cooked in one pot. It was ready in less than 15 minutes. Absolutely gorgeous new potatoes with black olives and green beans.